Hey, ladies. Welcome to Black Women Making Money. Hope you all are doing well. Thank you so much for all of you who have been waiting for me. Oh, my goodness. Oh, boy. As you're coming in, just give me a quick hello in the chat. And if you are listening to the replay, put in replay in the comment section. And that way, YouTube can know that you like the information that we give over here at Black Women Making Money. I apologize again for being late. I was talking with a prospect, and you know how you call somebody and you're like, oh, this will probably be a 2-minute call, or oh, I'm going to get voicemail. Well, that did not happen. Your girl is trying to make her coins over here. Ching, ching. So I do apologize. But things are going well for me. Y'all know I'm rebuilding, et cetera, et cetera. And yeah, things are getting better. Let's just say that. So Selfish Love is here saying hello. Just Being Nosy is saying hello. Welcome to everybody. Welcome again. Don't forget to thumbs up the video. Let's get into this conversation, ladies. So I saw this a couple of weeks ago. Oh, and you're asking if I'm feeling better. Yes, I am. I still have a little bit more recovery to do. It'll be next week, next Saturday, when I will be able to finally start working out again. The doctors told me, 2 weeks. So, but yes, I am feeling better. I'm feeling much better. So, yeah, you're in a rebuilding phase yourself, Selfish Love. Good for you. It's hard. It's hard. It takes, and the older you are, the longer it takes. But today is just, this week has just been really good. It's like, okay, things are finally starting to work and happen for me. So, K Kitty in the city saying cha-ching. Hello, everybody. It's Freedom Friday, y'all. So, I saw this topic come up, I don't know, about 3 weeks ago, and I didn't have a chance to talk about it when a lot of other people were talking about it. But over here at Black Women Making Money, we are the home of the upwardly mobile Black woman. And this topic is specifically targeted to us as the upwardly mobile Black woman. And I don't know if you've seen these things, and I'm going to drop the link as well for you ladies if anybody wants to come up. But we are being targeted, ladies. We are being targeted to be the recipients of sperm and using sperm donors and going to these clinics in order to be artificially inseminated. And also, there's a shortage of Black sperm donors. So I think that this is an interesting topic for us. I've seen several people talk about this, but what I don't see people say is that this is specifically targeted to the professional Black woman. I hear, men and women talking about we don't need more fatherless homes. The Black community already has too many fatherless homes, etc. But I hadn't heard anybody talk about the fact that this is not meant for the impoverished woman dating Pookie and Ray Ray in the hood. This is specifically focused on us as upwardly mobile Black women. Have you all been seeing these stories come out? And this is from the Washington Post as well. The Washington Post talked about it. CBS with Gayle King did a segment on it. Roland Martin did a segment on it. And Ebony K. Williams from the Griot also did a segment on it. Put a 1 in the chat if you have been seeing. It was like all of a sudden, like, I don't know. In the course of a couple of weeks, I saw like 4 different outlets talking about it. Put a 1 in the chat if you've been seeing it. Put a 2 in the chat if this is something new to you. You haven't been seeing it at all. They're trying to sell us as upwardly mobile professional Black women on, following our careers, right? Which we've been doing. But then, instead of dating out, which I believe we should be doing, right? If you can find a black man, great, but I will never tell you to find a black unicorn. I say, you date out, you try to find the best man for the job. I believe in what Crystal and Karazin was talking about with regards to that. Instead of dating out, they are encouraging you to go to the sperm bank, and they're encouraging black men to start donating sperm more. I always have my tingly hat on. I'm like, but why are they pushing this? And I rarely do the they pushing stuff, but with this, I'm specifically like, there seems to be a real reason why the mainstream media, capitalism, the system, whatever it is pushing this. They're really pushing it. So you're saying here, I mostly saw it once the brat chose a white sperm donor. Yeah, but it's not just a brat. That's like, and I saw it too when she went on Tamron Hall or someplace like that. And of course, I think that they have their what do you call it? Their reality show, whatever it is. But all of a sudden it's like all of this propaganda is coming out with regards to this. Jay is saying, but I may not be paying attention because I don't want kids. Yeah. So, and look, I totally get it. I don't have kids. I'm beyond that age, et cetera, et cetera. But this is a real concern that I have. You're saying that's when you heard about it too, the selfish love. You're saying they're probably pushing this because they need to fill the prisons. Here's the thing, Jay Antoinette. I thought that at first as well. The only reason I think that that may not be the case is because you would target impoverished women, impoverished Black women, and impoverished Black men if you want to fill the prisons. They are specifically targeting the professional Black woman with regards to this, the woman with resources. Ebony K. Williams type of woman is going in to do this, and she's suggesting that other Black women do the same. Does that mean that a professional Black woman cannot raise a child that would go to prison? No, I'm not saying that. But overwhelmingly, she's going to have that child in a different zip code and in a different environment than impoverished areas where they're filling the prisons. That's the only reason why I'm thinking that may not be it. And a Black woman who has children with their economic equals, those children are less likely to end up in jail, probably. Exactly. Not all Black sperm or any sperm is created equally. I agree with that. Dawn Earth is here saying sperm donor shortage. Yep. Because, okay, so Dawn Earth, I'm just saying here that we're being targeted with regards to this, and this is in mainstream media as well as Black media. When I say we, I don't just mean all Black women, I mean upwardly mobile Black women. So apparently, there are a lot of Black women who are choosing to go the sperm don't. Well, they say there are a lot of Black women looking for this sperm. Y'all put in the chat. Put a 3 in the chat if you've ever heard any Black woman say that they are looking to get artificially inseminated at the sperm bank. Put a 4 in the chat if you've never heard a Black woman say that. Put a 3 in the chat if you've heard a Black woman say outside of entertainment, right? Outside of entertainment and TV, say that they want to get artificial inseminated. Put a 4 in the chat if you've never, none of your girlfriends, you don't know nobody who's ever said that. Y'all are saying 4s. Exactly. I've never. Oh, so you're helping a friend through this right now. That is interesting. I wish you would come up on the panel. I'm gonna just being nosy. I don't know how you feel about coming up. I have questions with regards to how people are actually navigating this. A lesbian couple, as Dark and Lovely is saying, that makes sense for a lesbian couple. But I'm just talking, just a regular upwardly mobile Black woman. I just haven't seen it. And maybe it's going to become more prevalent, but maybe it's going to become more prevalent because they're starting to advertise this thing. You know what? I don't want to read the article. I'm going to actually go to what Ebony K. Williams said, and we're going to talk about that. And if anybody wants to come up, you can. I will say this before Ebony starts speaking. I will say this, and I've said this before. Who you have children with is the most important financial decision you will ever make. Who you have children with is the most important financial decision you will ever make. It's also, in my opinion, the most impactful decision that your child will have. Your decision of who you have children with. Um, I'm fascinated by this. I don't have the answers. I have more questions than answers. I feel like there's an agenda behind this. I can't put my finger on it yet as to what the agenda is, but the fact that this seems to be something that is going to really start being pushed to the professional Black woman. Again, spidey senses are tingling with regards to what's the end game with this. So just being nosy saying my friend is single. Okay, that's interesting. So your friend is really the archetype of the person that this is, being presented to. She's a single, I guess she's a professional Black woman. She's doing well. She's maybe making six figures. She hasn't found a mate yet. Maybe she's in her 30s. And she wants to have a child, but she does not want to have a husband, or she doesn't want to do it with a boyfriend or anything like that. Um, I agree, Cherie, there has to be some sort of harmful agenda behind this. Not sure what, though. Yeah, I'm not sure what it is. And I understand wanting the love of a child. When I was younger, we always talked about, maybe at some point, if you didn't have kids, you would adopt a child. I understand today adopting a child is different than 15, 20 years ago, because children today, if they've been in the foster care system, some of them, a lot of them just have so much trauma. But yeah, there seems to be something behind this. I don't care how much money I was making choosing single motherhood. No, I agree with that. I worry, and if you are a single mother, then we're definitely not saying anything against you. We understand that people become single mothers by a lot of different reasons, but uh, to not have that paternal support structure as you are making this decision, uh, it seems to statistically be proven that it hurts the child. An upwardly mobile Black woman will probably go outside the Black community. I would hope that she does. I would hope that she does. But Ebony herself was involved with a non Black man. Here's the thing, AE. Ebony was involved with a non Black man, but she is preaching that we should be pursuing Black sperm like she did. So we're going to actually watch a little bit of this. We're going to watch a little bit of this. And, let's just hear what she has to say in her journey. She has decided to become a mother. I believe she said this. She decided to become a mother through this artificial insemination process.
Black women are availing ourselves to all of the options that our hard work and circumstances currently afford us. And that means that single motherhood by choice is going to be an option that more and more Black women consider and even exercise. So anybody that's in their feelings about that can go ahead and start to process right now. Because Black women that have the privilege to embark upon this expensive and oftentimes lengthy process will increasingly decide to forego marriages and partnerships that do not serve us and that are not in our best interests. And now that bypassing those insufficient relationships does not have to come at the expense of motherhood, well, frankly, it's a whole new world. A world in which Black women are no longer subject to the desperation of being chose, because now we get to do the choosing. And as we choose, we do have to contend with the reality of a dismally small supply of Black sperm. Because most Black women on this journey, we want to create children that look like us and that look like our families. And that means we want Black sperm. And as we heard from Reese Brooks, it's the definition of slim pickings. And sometimes that means compromising on this aspect of your journey. Now, I am extremely fortunate that I was able to secure 2 vials of Black sperm from California Cryobank.
Okay, so I was right. She got 2 vials of sperm from a cryobank already. So she's already like going through this process. Top Beans or Toe Beans, sorry, said keeping Black women at the bottom is big business. You know what? You're bringing up a very good point with regards to that. Black women, professional Black women have resources. And if we've been responsible with our wombs, we did not have children out of wedlock in our 20s and early 30s. There is something to keeping Black women in a certain position, hierarchically. Um, so you're right. I also these cryobanks are probably looking for ways to expand their market share. And Black women, I don't believe overwhelmingly have been participating in this market. So maybe they're looking at this from how are we going, the industry is asking, how are we going to be able to expand our market share? And look, maybe we're it. Maybe we're it. So somebody said here, let's see here. I was looking at something. Oh, here's it. This is what I was looking for. Kay said, there's no agenda, only a few videos come up. Here's the issue, Kay, that I ran into. It's not that there are only a few videos are coming up, it's who is presenting these videos. So Ebony is one person. She's with the griot. The griot is small. However, this has made it to CBS. Gail King has been reporting on it, and it's made it into the Washington Post. So this, if this thing catches fire, it's going to, the problem is it's a simmer right now, but it's going to be something that really starts hitting um, the airways and really starts being promoted. There are also a couple of Black women doctors who now own these cryobank companies, and they're really pushing and promoting underground for Black women, professional Black women, to start using these sperm banks. I don't know if they're promoting Black men to become sperm donors. It seems like this is the big thing they're talking about, is we need more Black men sperm donors, and professional Black women, come in and will give you a couple of vials or sell you a couple of vials of the sperm. And the vials are $1,500 a pop. So Aaron is here saying, for women like Ebony, it's very simple to make these statements when you don't work directly with Black people. I have worked and met way too many interracial couples, and one of them is anti-Black always. Uh, there are opportunities for Black women to, date. But I tell the ladies, date cross culturally, date interracially. Find the best man for the job who's going to be a good husband to you and a good father to your children. And if the person is anti-Black, then obviously you don't want to mess with them. So, and thank you for saying you love my content. Thanks so much. Low key, I wish Kiki did this. Well, it ain't too late for Kiki. she That may be her second baby daddy. Choosing single motherhood just to have a Black child is crazy to me. It's better to have a biracial child in a two-parent household. Sorry, not sorry. I agree with you. I agree with you. But if this thing starts being promoted heavily, then what? Statistically, it hurts the child when the mother is isolated. Children from multi-generational homes, including multi-generational single parent homes, do well. They do so much better than children from single parent households, even if the single mother is an upwardly mobile Black woman. Um, What else are you all saying? Dark and Lovely saying, good question. Obviously, an agenda because you, upperly mobile Black women, are not having children. A lot of us are not having children. A part of that reason is because we have worked too hard for our money and we don't want to be bothered with a whole bunch of foolishness. But more of us do need to date out and date up than go to the sperm bank. But there's an agenda here. If I had the money, I would choose single motherhood. Well, you look young enough, you probably can get the money pretty soon. Um, She sounds robotic. This is a paid advertisement. I would agree with that because not only did she have this, but Roland Martin had the same thing. So, whatever is happening here, these people are paying for this advertising. Um, I have a friend who's a Black woman who chose to have two kids without getting married to the father, and her family doesn't support her. But at least she knows who the father is. So, I hope that he's, participating in his kids' lives. So, Fun side is saying I would go to the sperm bank. I wish you all would click the link. Click the link. Tell me if you would go to the sperm bank. Why? And no judgment here. Absolutely no judgment. Um, Support from the family is vital. I think an extended family is so important, if it's possible. It takes a village to raise a child. Uh, let's see here. So, my donor absolutely does not need to be a Black man. I can agree with that. I will want to see us having more healthy households. My question again is why is this specifically being targeted to upwardly mobile Black women? Kay is saying here reporting doesn't mean an agenda. Let's say they are promoting it. Who can afford insemination? A lot of Black women who are making six figures can afford insemination. If it's, a total of, let's say, $10,000 for you to get artificially inseminated, yeah, you can afford that. For that. A person in the hood may not be able to pay that, but yeah, a professional Black woman, she could definitely afford that. So, just being nosy is in the building. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
So,
So, you have a nice story to tell us, huh?
no, I don't.
You don't?
But I am no, but you guys seemed curious and you wanted to know if Black women are considering that option, and I have to tell you, yes. Did IVF myself, and I have a
Mhm.
girlfriend who, doesn't have family support. She's not married,
Mhm.
and she needed some hand holding. So since I went through it, I was basically holding her hand and giving her advice and, being her support system. She doesn't have,
So,
oh, go ahead.
so you went through IVF, but are you married?
I am married.
Okay, but she is single. She
Yes.
doesn't have a boyfriend or anything like that.
No.
What made her decide, without giving her, personal information away, what made her decide to go this route?
Well, she's getting to be at that age that if she doesn't do it now, it may never happen.
Interesting. And she really, did she always want to have kids?
Yes. She did try IVF a few years before. It didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
So she kind of, was discouraged. And then she saw all that success I was having. So she
Mm-hmm.
wanted to see my doctor. And, she has a little more confidence in him. So she definitely wants to do it. But she doesn't have a man in her life. And she doesn't want to wait anymore because if it was going to happen, it would have happened by now. And she doesn't want to wait till it's too late and then regret. But
Do
because she is up
you,
there in age.
yeah, yeah, I can definitely understand that. Do you have other girlfriends who are considering this as well, or is she the only one?
She's the only one doing it by herself.
Mm-hmm.
But I can tell you at least five more people doing IVF with their spouses.
Yeah, so doing IVF with a spouse is not really where I was headed and thinking
Mm-hmm.
of because you have a spouse or they have a
Yes.
spouse. It really is a woman who is over, the age of 35, who is professional. She's making her six figures. She's doing really well. She doesn't have a man in her life. And she's saying, I'm going
Oh,
to go to, be artificially inseminated and go through this process.
Yes. Yeah, that's what she's doing. I do remember when we were picking her donor, we did that
Mm-hmm.
together. And yeah, if they're saying that there's a lack of Black men donating, there it's very true.
Mm-hmm.
There
Yeah.
almost aren't any.
Did she decide to stick with a Black donor, or is she
No.
gonna look? She's gonna open up her options.
Oh no, her options have always been open. She's never
Always been
been,
open.
yeah. So
Yeah.
that wasn't an issue for her.
Mm-hmm.
So she
What do
was
you
very
think
open
of?
to it.
What do you think about, be messy here just for a second? This is not against your friend. This is just general. So I've been
Sure.
listening to some of the manosphere and the women of the manosphere talking about this, and they say, well, if you could get on a man's program, you wouldn't have this problem. That Ebony couldn't get on a man's program, and therefore that's why she's in the situation. What do you think about that?
I think they're full of it because because without getting into specifics about my one friend's problem,
Hmm.
but all of us as Black women, we know the statistics of SA
Hmm.
in our community, and a lot of women are healing from that, and it interferes with having normal, healthy relationships. Some
Yeah.
people get help earlier than others. Some people never get help. So they're never really able to be happy in relationships because, let's just say, they're dealing with trauma.
Hmm.
And when they finally get a handle on it, next thing you know, you're 39 and things aren't working like they used to. So in a lot of situations, I've run into that.
Hmm.
I myself, I had to do, therapy in my 30s before I was able to have a happy marriage. So yeah, I mean, they cause problems, and it's like, poking the bear and hiding the stick, and they want to blame us for how we react to trauma put on us by them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I
it's easy to
mean,
say that we're getting with the program, but in a lot of situations, we're dealing with women who have a lot of trauma that they're dealing with. A lot of them coming from men, Black men.
well, the Black community, both men and women, have a lot of trauma. And the worst thing you can have is two traumatized people coming together making kids, no matter the tax bracket that they're in, right? So, it's important for us as women to do whatever therapy we need to do in order to get ourselves together and select, with your head on a swivel with regards to the father of your children and the husband that you're going to have. I think that that's just very important. I also think for all of my ladies in your 20s, if you're starting to make good money and you're like in your latter 20s, don't be afraid to go to the fertility clinic and maybe freeze some of your eggs as well. If you feel like, hey, at some point, like if you're picky, and I think all of us ladies should be picky, but if you're picky and you're like, look, I don't have anybody right now, I'm 28, I'm 30, I'm 32, this, just go get yourself checked out and give yourself that option as well. um
I want to say something about that.
yes.
A lot of people who aren't in healthcare and haven't done the process themselves don't realize sometimes just freezing your eggs is a dangerous proposition,
Hmm.
because you don't know if you'll be able to have healthy embryos from the eggs that you froze.
Okay.
Because one, when you thaw out the eggs to be used, you lose 60 to 70% of them. They're very fragile. They don't always survive the thawing process.
Hmm.
That's why when you're dealing with older women, they tend to tell them to freeze embryos, not
Hmm.
eggs.
Okay,
Because at
so
least then
thank
you'll
you.
know what you're working with. And embryos survive the defrosting process at 95%.
Got it. Got it. So, ladies, I learned something today. So did you. It's freezing your embryos. Freezing your embryos.
But you need a sperm donor for embryos. If you don't
You,
have the sperm,
yeah.
you can
Hmm.
only freeze your eggs. The
Okay.
younger you are, the more likely it is to work out.
Hmm.
But you may freeze your eggs in your 20s, and then when you're ready to use them, they thaw out and none of them are any good. And now it's too
Interesting.
late because you're
Hmm.
past being able to produce anymore. That's why a lot of women go the route of freezing embryos. So let's say
Mm-hmm.
you're in you're 28 and you get, you go through the process, you have 20 eggs.
Mm-hmm.
You can freeze 10 eggs and then you can maybe fertilize another 10.
Mm-hmm.
So at least you'll have some embryos just in case the eggs don't
Just in
survive.
case. True Mystique wrote here, and I read an article about this as well, that companies are starting to incorporate this into their compensation packages for women. So let's talk about this, because the agenda with this is, and they said it in the article that I read in Business Insider, that they want women to stay in the workplace longer. They don't want you taking off, in order to have children. And look, I think every woman needs to blaze her own path. You all know how I feel about set your life up so that you can work from home. Because if I were having a child these days, I would not put my child in daycare. But that's just Cherie. With regards to all the things that we've been listening to and hearing within the daycare centers. But yeah, there are companies out there that are adding this, especially for certain levels of women within their corporations, in order to keep them longer. So I'm going to continue listening to this. Just being nosy, you can stay up, or if you want us to go
No, I
back in
have
the
to
chat, you
go.
can.
No, I
Okay.
have to go. So if you guys had any more questions?
No, just wanted to thank you so much for coming and telling your friend's story and your story, and good luck with your IVF as well.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for being here tonight.
Good night, ladies.
Night. Okay, ladies, let's continue listening to Ebony here. Some of you are saying that you think Ebony is reading from a script and a paid advertisement. It's possible. Then you have to ask who's paying her and why are they paying her to get us to do this. So let's keep listening.
When I embarked on this part of my journey last fall.
I'm going to go back just a little bit so we can hear that sentence again.
When I embarked on this part of my journey last fall. But I do know that I am an outlier. So I've got 2 concrete tips for single Black women who think this may be an option, either now or maybe later. Number 1, please check out Reproductive Village. It's a new Black-owned cryobank, and it's designed to help with this shortage of Black sperm. It's set to open its doors in D.C. later this year, and it will also have drop-off locations in Atlanta and Houston, Texas.
So let's look at this. DC, Atlanta, Houston. DC, wealthy Black women working in the government, doing government contracting, some of the military Black women. Atlanta, Houston, again, money, money, money for this Black cryobank, right? What's the agenda here? There's always an agenda and who benefits. I think so. I'm not sure exactly what the agenda is here. I wanted to have this conversation with you ladies, but I think that number one, it's partially for us to be resources to certain industries. If we're not having babies, we are not, paying for everything from cribs and baby formula and diapers all the way up through college. I don't believe that they're targeting our upwardly mobile Black kids for prison, but I do wonder if they're targeting us for certain types of labor or something like that. But this just seems really, really suspect. So you all are saying it sounds like an ad. So then they put the ad in the Washington Post. They put it on CBS News with Gayle King. They put it on Roland Martin. The Roland Martin one really did sound like an ad. And then they have Ebony here. So if this is successful and you have more Black women listening to these things and start going to these cryobanks in order to get sperm, I believe there's going to be a full out, marketing program for this. DC, Atlanta, and Houston have a lot of single professional Black women. Exactly. So unregulated, I wouldn't trust it. There's a reason why Black men make up only 2% of donors. So my understanding is that they don't accept individuals with criminal history, which of course knocks out a lot of Black men. And then my understanding is also they have some sort of health screenings as well. So a lot of Black men are knocked off because they can't make it through the medical and the background checks. That's again my understanding. That's my understanding. Um, Let's see here. The only people who benefits from single parent homes is the permanent underclass and the people who target the permanent underclass. I agree with that. Tam is here saying egg freezing is but talk about the survival rate of the eggs and the shots that go along with it. Yeah, so we had talked before about the freezing the embryos versus the eggs. So I learned something today about that. Learned something today. All right, ladies, let's keep listening to Ebony here. I'm just going to finish up her 3 minutes.
And number 2, be proactive. I say go ahead and start looking right now for desirable Black sperm.
Look right now, ladies. Hurry up. The 2% of Black sperm is going to be gone tomorrow. Oh my goodness. We're talking about the most important decision, especially the most important financial decision you will ever make as the father of your children. And it's just hurry up right now. But okay.
You register with all 4 of the big cryo banks, and this includes California Cryo Bank, which I used, Seattle Sperm Bank, Fairfax Cryo Bank, and Zytex. Then you can scan the current options for Black sperm. And if you see some sperm that you like, I suggest go ahead and buying at least 2 vials right now. Even if you do not intend to use them anytime soon, trust me, it's better to have them than to be without them when the time comes. And listen, if you never need them for whatever reason, what a wonderful gift to give to a friend or a sorority sister in need.
Yeah, this sounds like a written ad here. If you oh my god. If you ever decide you don't need it, just wrap it up as a Christmas gift, ladies. Let's keep listening. I took it back a little bit. Let's keep listening.
And listen, if you never need them for whatever reason, what a wonderful gift to give to a friend or a sorority sister in need. And also, most of those banks, they allow you to resell the sperm back to the bank itself. Listen, I know that many are going to question or even indict the decision that I and many other Black women are making to become single mothers by choice. But I, like the women you heard from today, go by the creed of no regrets. I have, and many Black women have, too much love, too many resources, and too rich of a community not to share these gifts with children of our own. Children that will one day, no doubt, enrich and contribute to the next generation of Black America.
All right, ladies, that was it. That was it. Yeah, it sounded, especially at the end when she's like, just gift it to a friend. You know, throw a bow on that sucker and say, here you go, girl. Giving kids as gifts. Yes, yes. Tam is saying, I think more women will choose this that want kids and can't find men based on their financial status. So I agree with that. I just am concerned with, first of all, making sure that the first thing that we consider doing is not just staying in the Black community for men, expanding our options, thinking about how we are able to integrate with the greater society in order to marry men of other races. And then if you still say, you know what, no, I just want to do it on my own, then okay. But when we talk about this being a potential, advertising thing, where all of a sudden Black women who never considered this all of a sudden start really thinking about it and really thinking, hey, maybe I should do single motherhood by choice. I just worry that we're not giving the children that we're bringing into the world through this method I worry that we're inhibiting them. That's my concern. I would never judge a woman who chose to do this. I just am concerned, especially if a majority or a sizable amount of upwardly mobile Black women choose this method. Um, and my spidey senses tells me that there's an agenda behind this. Yes, there is capitalism, there's some advertising, but I just feel like there's some sort of an agenda as well behind something like this. Some people are going to get rich from this, and what's going to be um, the fate of the children that are brought into the world through this process. So, Selfish Love is saying here, Ebony is now becoming a single parent by choice. She just feels this last option since her relationship didn't work. That's possible. That's possible. I guess, when I think single parent by choice, it is that you are deciding to have a child without, not even marriage, but just without a man in the picture, without the father being in the picture actively. So, yeah. Um, you're saying single motherhood by choice wouldn't have been for me. You're saying here, I understand why personally not for me. I think it's an agenda as well. Yeah, I'm concerned about this. I like I said, I saw it, and I think if it's successful in its first round, then this is probably going to be promoted a lot more. Um, and we as upwardly mobile Black women deserve to raise our kids in two-parent households. We deserve it. We deserve to have, if you want to be a parent, if you want to be a mother, we deserve to have men who will treat us with respect and stick around to raise kids properly. That doesn't mean that you'll have the perfect man. It doesn't mean that he won't work on your nerves, et cetera, et cetera. But, um, you know, but if we understand that the kids do better in a two-parent household, and if the man is just doing the basics, and I know we shouldn't be celebrating the basics, but if he's just doing the basics, and we then have a two-income household and we have the ability to raise that child as a nepo baby, I just think that um, there's something so beneficial to society with regards to that as well. So, yeah, yeah. So that's the conversation for today. I don't have a definitive answer with regards to any of this. I have more questions than answers, and time will tell. In about 35 to 45 years, 50 years, they're going to be doing research studies on Black children born from artificial insemination, and we will see the mental health of those children. You will see the mental health of those children. I will say one last thing, and I don't know how this is going to affect anything, but I read an article that there are certain European countries now that uh, want to see your birth certificate in order for them to give you a visa. It could be one country, it could be multiple, I don't know. But they're saying that if they don't see a father's name on your birth certificate, this is an article I read, if they don't see a father's name on your birth certificate, then they will not let you have a visa into their country. Again, it was just one article that I read. I think it's interesting. I think it also could be a way to lock our children and our grandchildren out of certain opportunities. So I'm just wonder. You think it'll be sooner? Give it 5 to 10 years for them to start doing the research? It's possible. It's possible as they go into kindergarten, and actually as they go into fourth grade. My understanding is that in the future of the prison industry is judged by fourth graders, whether they're doing well in school, they're having discipline problems, et cetera, et cetera. Now, I have read articles that have said that that's not true, it's debunked. I personally, my spidey senses says that is absolutely true based on the zip code you live in and whether you are literate or not. I absolutely believe the prison industry is targeting people based on those things. So um, it could be 5 to 10 years. You could be right. Could be 10 years. So you're saying here, I don't think people deserve children, only people who put themselves in a good place financially. I agree with that. I agree with that. Having a child is a blessing, and it's also the most important job that you will have, and it's the most taxing, physically, mentally, financially draining job that you will ever have is raising a child, especially raising one that grows up to be a responsible human being. So, yeah. Um, Yeah, okay, so LeBron School failed, I did hear about that, the boys could not pass the 8th grade math, and they also had issues with the English part as well. That's pre-algebra at the latest, but in all reality, an 8th grader should be beginning algebra at this point. Yeah, I heard about LeBron School. Um, I heard that he was taking school students that were failing in um, other schools and brought them over to his school, and it's just a big mess over there. The best thing I can say for an upwardly mobile Black woman is do not have kids in poverty. Don't do it, because if you do that and you put your kid in schools with, I hate to say it like this, all Black schools, unfortunately, the chances of your child being able to pass these standardized tests, goes down significantly, significantly. So next Wednesday, I think it is next Wednesday, I set it up where I couldn't get the woman, Heather McDonald, who talks about her book is called When Race Trumps Merit. And it's all about the fact that Black people cannot do the don't have the academic aptitude in order to get into elite universities. I've been, watching a lot of podcasts with her. I couldn't get her to come on, but we're going to review one of her videos where she's discussing this. This is a huge problem. This is a huge problem. It's about to affect everything from K to 12 admissions to health, any kind of scientific discoveries. Black people are going to be left out of those things. I actually read earlier today, I got an email from a woman who said that now there is a Black venture capital fund being sued because one of the people who got affirmative action overturned, one of the lawyers, he decided to sue this Black venture capital fund because he said it was discriminatory that only Black women, I think it was Black women, yeah, only Black women were getting this capital from this VC fund. It's about to be real out here, ladies. It's about to be very real. So I was going to bring up that article next week when we have that conversation. If you don't have your technical skills, your soft skills, your multicultural networks together, I hate to say it, I said it before, I give it 5 years. This country is about to turn very, very much from, racial equity to complete merit. And if you cannot compete, you will be on the bottom. If you are smart, but you don't have a multicultural network that can back you, that can get you into those rooms, that can get you into those good jobs and those good government contracts, you are going to be permanent underclass. So going back to this topic that we have now with regards to the single motherhood by choice, are people trying to set upwardly mobile Black women to add to the numbers of the permanent underclass? I don't know the answer to that. There have been articles that talk about children who are raised by single mothers, no matter if they are like upper middle class or middle class, how often those children, especially the male children, sink back into poverty. I don't know. Dawn Earth is saying, can we sue when overwhelmingly white men get VC funding? No, you cannot. You cannot, because they're going to say it's based on merit. So, you know, yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a wild next several years. It's going to be wild. So, they're going to fight to keep Black women at the bottom. And this is why I'm saying to you, you individually don't need to be at the bottom. But if you're shy, you have whatever it takes for you to get out of that in order to start meeting people, because I just see it. The only way you're going to be able to really get ahead is to know the right people and to have exceptional skills. I just don't see it any other way. And of course, we've talked about this continuously on this channel. So, okay, that is it for me. I hope you enjoyed tonight's session, and I will see you all next week. Oh, Dana is in the building. Hello. Are you going to the Beyonce concert this weekend? Hell no. I ain't giving Beyonce my money. She needs to give me money. The Queen Bee needs to give Cherie money. Write the check, pay to the order of. Good to see you, Dana. All right, then. Well, that is it, ladies. Take care. Bye.